Well, welcome everybody. It's great, wonderful to see you. It's a very special program today. We're very honored to welcome Dovida Goodman. And I just want to say a few words first, and then Dovida will talk a little bit, and then we'll move into the program. So I'm going to put my mask down for a minute. July of this year, 2022, marked a very special reunion in the life of Dovida Goodman. A gifted concert pianist and performing artist, illness had forced the sale of her instrument and music library to pay the bills many years ago. Thanks to the generosity of 157 people and a GoFundMe campaign, Dovida returned to the piano after 37 years of a debilitating illness that kept her bedridden for much of that time. Her physical healing is still a journey, and her reconnection to the creative part of her soul has strengthened her spiritual resolve to regain wholeness. So as Dovida began to play once again, not only for herself, but for others as well, her ability to regain pleasure through her music, once thought of as long lost, translated to a sharing of joy and a message of resilience to all who listen. Much like the oil of Hanukkah, found amongst the destruction of the temple by the Maccabees, thought to be only enough for one day, but lasted a miraculous 8. It's kind of like the 9th day of Hanukkah now for us. Dovida has rediscovered the light of her music, a gift of generations. So today she comes from Margarita Island, Venezuela. So she's coming to us from Venezuela to share that light with all of us. So let's welcome Dovida Goodman.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's such a pleasure to be here. I mean, it's true. In 1985, my life literally came to a screeching halt. I had to give up doing everything, including playing the piano. And if you had told me even a year ago, December, that this year, 2022 in December, I would be giving my first public concert, I would not have believed it. I literally never thought I was going to play again when I stopped 37 years ago. So what's gotten me out of bed? How am I here today? I'd say two important things, awarenesses, have influenced my recovery. The first one was realizing that I was born to play and that I'm going to get kind of teary-eyed, bear with me. This is still such an emotional thing for me. It's such a miracle, really, that I'm sitting here. And I realized that I could not wait until I felt better to return to music. So at the point where Miss Talia Shafir, who's with us today, came to me and said, let's do a GoFundMe campaign. Let's get you a piano. At that point, and when I said yes, I had no idea what would be possible. I had no idea if a piano would manifest. I had no idea if once it was in my living room, if I could play it, or if I'd even want to play it, because it was actually through playing that my illness began with some severe pain in my back. So I had no idea, but I said yes. And the other thing that I had to realize was that I was not broken. And I did not need to be fixed. And the very search for years to fix myself on all levels, because I really thought this must be my fault, must be something I'm thinking, must be something buried emotion, must be something I ate, whatever. I really believed I needed fixing, and I didn't realize the stress that creates in the nervous system. Because think of it, think about the thoughts that probably we all have all day long that say, I shouldn't have thought that. I wish I hadn't said that. I shouldn't be feeling this. I'm so down. Why am I down? I shouldn't be down. I shouldn't have gotten angry. You know, all day long, these messages that I should have been different than I am, and I shouldn't have this pain in my body, and I should have been able to fix it. I should have been able to figure it out. All of that was just causing this chronic stress response loop in my brain. And I had to go after and recognize all those thoughts and stop it, just drop it, and understand inherently I'm safe, I'm fine, I'm okay. Doesn't mean I don't have things I want to address, but inherently I'm okay. And that is a huge relaxation to drop the self-judgment. So I invite you all to consider how that might benefit you. This first piece I'm going to share with you is actually a video of the very last piece of the very last concert I did in 1985 of May in Amarillo, Texas. And I did it with my mom. And what is so amazing about doing it with my mom is that my mom was a Holocaust survivor, and it was exactly 40 years to the day in 1985, May 9th, when we did this concert in Amarillo, Texas. It was exactly 40 years before, in 1945, that she was liberated by the Russian army in the concentration camp Theresienstadt. Now, can you imagine that my mother in a million years would have believed in 1945 that 40 years later, she'd be doing a concert with her daughter? My mother was also a gifted pianist, and that she'd be doing a concert in Amarillo. So, you know, anything's possible. I wouldn't have guessed after 37 years I'd be sitting here today and I'm going to play, you know? So this piece is a video. I apologize, it's not great quality. It was done on VHS tape. Remember what that was? Those videotapes. But it gives you a sense where I've been. And it's I Got Rhythm by Jacob Gershowitz. Now, who's that? Jacob Gershowitz is the real name of George Gershwin. Now, I don't know what he was thinking. Did he think he was hiding his Jewish identity with the name George Gershwin? I don't know. But anyway, Michael, take it away. Michael's going to play the video from that concert.
Requested to play something by one of your favorite composers in Amarillo, Jacob Gershowitz.
Thank you. So, when I was 10 years old, I auditioned to play with the Philadelphia Orchestra. That's what young kids that were prodigies did. I didn't win that audition, but I've always wondered what would it be like to play with the orchestra. Well, I just turned 70 years old, and 2 days ago, I decided by the time I'm 80, I'm going to play with an orchestra. And I thought, I could set the goal at 75, but 80, there's less pressure. It gives me 10 years to be able to fly across the keyboard once again. So, when I started to play in July, it was very awkward. It was like learning to walk again. It was frustrating. And I bought the music again of a particular Chopin nocturne that I had learned when I was 9. So it was something that I played my whole life until 1985. And I sat down in July or August some point and read through the music, and it was tough. I mean, I struggled through to the end. And then I closed the music and I closed my eyes and I just kind of shook myself off and I thought, I can play this now. I didn't open the music and I just played it. 80% intact by memory. It just came through. So, we don't understand the mystery of this body, this brain, the universe, God's grace. I mean, I would have never guessed that I would be playing again, not from practicing and working to get my technique back, but from relaxing and being a happy person and enjoying life and allowing it to flow again. So I am going to play the Chopin Nocturne for you. It also has a lot of meaning for me because when I was 27 years old, one day I was playing this nocturne and my mind got flooded with this prose poem about what it's been like to grow up the daughter of a Holocaust survivor, and specifically the very volatile relationship I'd had my whole childhood with my mother. And along with the poem, I quickly grabbed paper, wrote it down. I got this vision to do concerts with my mom, which did manifest in 1980. In fact, how do I know Talia Shafir? She produced a concert tour for me and my mother in 1982. Thank you, Talia. And Talia organized the GoFundMe. Thank you again, Talia. So I'm going, in the concert, I would play the Chopin Nocturne, and then I would bring my mother out, and I am going to share with you this little segment of our concert. I'm going to play the Nocturne, and then we are going to go immediately, Michael, into a video that is what happens when I bring my mother out on stage. So. And now I'd like you to meet my mother, Kenya Flint Gottlieb Goodman.
Flint Gottlieb Goodman, my mother.
Thank you. My arms are too short to embrace you all. It is so good to be alive, and I think it was worthwhile to survive. God rewarded me with 2 wonderful children. I shouldn't forget I have a son, a doctor. And you know what that means to a Jewish mama. I'm also very proud that the 2 of them have devoted their lives to serve people. One heals and one spiels. And now we should become a little bit more serious. I will recite for you a chapter from the diary of Anne Frank, to which my talented daughter wrote the music. Anne Frank became a symbol of all the young who perished during the Holocaust, whose dreams and ideals had been shattered and the whole generation destroyed. The beautiful, sensitive, 13-year-old, spirited Anne Frank addressed the conscience of the world in her diary. And this is what she wrote. For in its innermost depths, youth is lonelier than older people. Is it true then that grown-ups have a more difficult time here than we do? No, I know it isn't so. Older people have formed their opinions about everything and don't waver before they act. It is twice as hard for us young ones to hold our ground and maintain our opinions in a time when ideals are being destroyed, when people are showing their worst side and do not know whether to believe in truth and right, in God. The problems weigh down on us, problems for which we are probably much too young. And that's the difficulty in these times. Ideals, dreams, and cherished hopes rise within us, only to meet the horrible truths and be shattered again. It is really a wonder that I haven't dropped all my ideals, because they seem so absurd and impossible to carry out. Yet, I keep them, because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. I simply can't build up my hopes on a foundation consisting of confusion, misery, and death. I see the world gradually being turned into a wilderness. I hear the ever-approaching thunder, which will destroy us too. I can feel the suffering of millions, and yet I look up into the skies and I think it will all come right again, that this cruelty too will end, and that peace and tranquility will return again. In the meantime, I must uphold my ideals, for perhaps the time will come when I shall be able to carry them out. But she didn't. She died 2 months in Bergen-Belsen before the liberation. And I wish to tell you now something from my comments of this horrible war. The war's greatest evil is the degradation of the human spirit. And despite the horrors and humiliation, we never gave up. And this is the ultimate shining of that spirit. This was also a different kind of resistance against the monstrous power of the Nazis. The enormous desire to survive kept us alive. Some of us survived only, and we are determined to keep on fighting for a better, peaceful world in which such atrocities should never happen to any minority. So beware and be aware. We mourn the dead, but we shall go on fighting for the living.
You've met the indomitable force that was my mother, and I think it gives you a little bit of an idea where I've gotten my persistence and resilience from, not to mention the gift of music. My mother was actually a graduate of the Warsaw Conservatory of Music, where she had to study keeping her Jewish identity a secret. And one day, one of her professors took her aside and said, "You know, the way you play Chopin, you must be Jewish." For a moment, my mother panicked, but then he winked, and he kept her identity as a Jew a secret. Now, switching now to October, a few months ago, the very first piece I was able to play about 3 weeks after having this piano is a kind of hybrid. I have two loves when it comes to piano music. One is classical music, and the other is piano improvisation. And I was able to marry both with this piece based on a well-known Bach prelude. And I'm going to show you a video of it because living here in Venezuela and the just dreadful, disastrous economic situation, the people who live here wear many hats. And about a year ago, I discovered the person that comes to clean my air conditioner, named Jesus, is actually an award-winning underwater cinematographer. So when I started playing again a couple months ago, I had him and his crew come and videotape me, and they wed the videotape of my playing with this beautiful film footage of the island where I live. So I wanted to show you where I live. I'm really so happy that you invited me to be with you today. I would like to just invite all of you to consider, is there something you used to love doing, used to enjoy so much that you let go of somewhere along your life path? Maybe when you got married, maybe when you had children, maybe when you got divorced, maybe when there was a loss in your life, maybe there was illness. Is there something you've given up believing that it's just not possible to do anymore? Well, I want to invite you to dare to be curious, curious like a child, and find out what's possible. I would have not thought this was possible, but that is my attitude now with all my life. I wonder what's possible. I don't try to think if I can do it or not. I just think, well, let's see. Let's see what can happen. So I'm going to finish now with a medley of 2 Hanukkah songs and see if you can guess the titles of these tunes.
Thank you, Dovida. Just beautiful. So one more round of applause for Dovida, okay, everybody? Bravo. 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 Yes. Well, if anybody has any questions that you want to ask Dovida, or even to ask her how warm it is in Venezuela, because we know here it's like, forget it. But, no pressure, but anybody have any questions for her or want to share anything?
Well, she asked if we would know the
Oh,
tunes.
yeah, what the songs were, that's right.
Yeah, can you name the songs?
Sir.
Hanukkah, and Matsur.
One
Matsur.
more. Yes, that was right.
Yeah, all right. Nice. Good ones.
You win the dishes or this beautiful break front from Roy Hill.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I have heard music played to the songs played to the music that you have played. I have never been so inspired. It is the most beautiful performance in all these years, I kid you not, that I have heard. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness, I couldn't see who was speaking. Is it possible to see who just said that to me?
She can.
Hi, my name is Merle.
Oh,
We're all the way in the back.
We're all playing the back, but it was so inspiring. I kid you not. It's beautiful. Keep on playing, honey. Doing a
Thank
good job.
what does it inspire you to do?
I beg your pardon, with your music? With your music?
Yeah, with this.
Or just for yourself? That you said it was inspiring. What are you inspired to do?
Joy, I've had a very, very special day, a very unusual day today, and you have just capped it off for me. I love it. Thank you so much. Good health to you.
Thank you. Anyone have a question for me? Would anybody like to know the story of how playing the piano saved my mother in Auschwitz? I know
Yes.
it's a little bit of a heavy story, but it has a happy ending. You already know that. So my mother was in Auschwitz. She lost all her family there. She was very, very depressed. And the capo, the Jewish woman in charge of the barracks, came through one day and said, "Who here plays the piano?" My mother didn't move, but she was there with her sister-in-law, and her sister-in-law shoved her hand up in the air. And my mom said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" She said, "Well, maybe we'll get some extra food. Just say yes, say yes." So my mother said yes. And what was she having to play for? It was the birthday of the commandant of Auschwitz. And my mother was led into this room where they were partying and sat down at a piano, and the capo said, "Listen, when I give you the signal, I want you to play." So she got the signal, and my mom was frozen. She just couldn't move. And the woman came over and said, "You've got to play. Come on, you've got to play. They're all looking at you. They're waiting." And my mom couldn't talk. She couldn't move. She just sat there at the piano. Well, the birthday boy came over and he was very angry and he ordered her to play. And still, my mother was in shock from everything that had happened and being in that room, just everything. She couldn't move. And he stabbed her in the back and in the chest with the tip of his bayonet. The capo quickly dragged my mother out, stuffing her wounds with newspaper, and said, "I feel so terrible. I never thought anything terrible was going to happen to you like this. I feel so sorry. Listen, I'm going to get you out of here. There's going to be a transport train in the night taking people to an ammunitions factory in Germany to work. And I'm going to get you on it. And my mom, still just in such grief from having lost her mother and her family, said, no, I'm not going to go. Just leave me alone. But then my mother had an idea. She said, oh, if I can bring my aunt and my girlfriend and my sister-in-law, I'll go. And the woman, of course, said, I can't get 4 of you out. And my mother said, well, I insist. I'm not going to go otherwise. And she got them all out. And 3 of them survived the war and had families afterwards. So that is the story how music saved my mother's life.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Dovida.
My pleasure.
There was one other question for you, if we can.
Sure.
Your improvisation on your Bach prelude
Yes.
is I thought it was really great that you kind of put the canon in D in there. I like the way you worked.
Yes. You got that? Yeah.
Yes, that was really beautiful, and the imagery that went along with your improvisation was just beautiful.
Thank you. They
Uh,
made it a work of art.
yes.
I don't know, did you catch the Oh Susanna? That was in there too.
I might have lifted an eyebrow at that, but I don't think it registered as "Oh Susanna." Sorry, sorry. So it wasn't really a question. I just wanted to say how beautifully you wove those melodies together, and I really appreciated it.
Thank you. I really love doing that. I sometimes say that I have ADD when it comes to playing. It's like I'll start playing one thing and it reminds me of something else, and then it reminds me of something else, and I just keep jumping from one to the other. But it's fun for me, and that was the deal when I was going to play again, because music was not fun for me as a kid. You know, if you're talented, and my mom was trying to live her unlived life through me, there was a lot of pressure. So I did not enjoy the piano, but now I only do things for fun and enjoyment. And I'm having a lot of fun, and I love presenting now. I used to hate playing for people, just hated it, but I love it now.
Well, we certainly appreciate that you played for us today. Just
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for arranging this.
One more round of applause.
Thank you.
Right. I don't know if Talia wants to say anything, or maybe not. I don't know. I'll invite you to bring greetings, or
Greetings to the more frozen north from the frozen enough north. We can all be jealous of Davida's paradise there. Thank you so much. It meant a lot to share this all with you, and for Dovida to be received by such a welcoming family that you are. And thank you, Michael, for all your support.
Yes.
Yours and Lisa's, and much nachas to all of you in the coming year. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Michael and Lisa and everybody for coming.
all right. Be well.
Thank you.